Today is June 29th, 2021. My subject today is term limits. In my humble opinion, term limits are the number one way to get our government back on track. For the heck of it, I looked on Wikipedia to see just how long some of these people have served. And here are the top 10. I found it to be some staggering numbers. John Dingell, Democratic Party, Michigan. 59 years, 21 days till he retired from 1926 to 2019. Number 2, Robert Byrd, Democratic Party, West Virginia. 57 years, 176 days till he died, 1917 to 2010. Number 3, Carl Hayden, Democratic Party, Arizona. 56 years, 319 days till he retired, 1877 to 1972. Number 4, Daniel Inouye, Democratic Party, Hawaii. 53 years, 118 days till he died, 1924 to 2012. Number 5, Jamie Whitten, Democratic Party, 53 years, 60 days, Mississippi, retired. Number 6, John Conyers, Democratic Party, 52 years, 336 days, resigned. Number 7, Carl Vinson, Democratic Party, 50 years, 61 days, Georgia. Number 8, Emmanuel Seller, Democratic Party, 49 years, 305 days, New York. He lost his nomination in 1981. Number 9, Sam Rayburn, Democratic Party, 48 years, 257 days, from Texas. He died. Number 10, Don Young, Republican, from Alaska, 48 years, 115 days. You can see, like I did, these are pretty amazing numbers. Now, there's an interesting article, much too long for me to do today, but one that everybody should look up. It's called The Effects of the Seniority System on How Congress Works. Bottom line, the more power they get, the more screwed America gets, in my opinion. I'm going to take a look at term limits, and I found on Wikipedia some interesting statistics, and I'll share them with you. In the United States, term limits, also referred to as rotation in office, restrict the number of terms of office an office holder may serve. At the federal level, the 22nd Amendment to the United States Constitution limits the President of the United States to 4-year terms, 2 of them. State government office in some but not all states are term limited, including the executive, legislature, and judicial office. Term limits can date back to the American Revolution, and prior to that to the democracies and republics of antiquity. The Council of 500 in ancient Athens rotated its entire membership annually, as did Ephyrae in ancient Sparta. According to historian Garrett Fagan, office holding in the Roman Republic was based on limited tenure of office, which ensured that authority circulated frequently, helping to prevent corruption. I'll read that one again. According to historian Garrett Fagan, office holding in the Roman Republic was based on limited tenure of office, which ensured that authority circulated frequently, helping to prevent corruption, or as we have today, the deep state. An additional benefit of the cursus honorum, or rule of offices, was to bring the most experienced politicians to the upper echelons of power holding in the ancient republic. Many founders of the United States were educated in the classics and quite familiar with rotation in the office during antiquity. The debates of that day reveal a desire to study and profit from the object lessons offered by ancient democracy. Prior to independence, several colonies had already experimented with term limits. The Fundamental Orders of Connecticut of 1639, for example, prohibited the colonial governor from serving consecutive terms by setting terms 1 year's length and holding that no person be chosen governor above once in 2 years. Shortly after independence, the Pennsylvania Constitution of 1776 set maximum service in the Pennsylvania General Assembly at 4 years in 7. Benjamin Franklin's influence, as seen not only in that he chaired the Constitutional Convention, which drafted the Pennsylvania Constitution, but also because it included virtually unchanged Franklin's earlier proposals on executive rotation. Pennsylvania's plural executive was composed of 12 citizens, elected for the term of 3 years, followed by a mandatory vacation of 4 years. The Articles of Confederation adopted in 1781 established term limits for the delegates to the Continental Congress, mandating in Article 5 that no person shall be capable of being a delegate for more than 3 years in any term of 6 years. On October 2, 1789, Continental Congress appointed a committee of 13 to examine forms of government for the impending union of the states. Among the proposals was that from the state of Virginia, written by Thomas Jefferson, urging a limitation of tenure to prevent any danger which might arise to American freedom by continuing too long in office the members of the Continental Congress. The committee made recommendations, which as regards congressional term limits were incorporated unchanged to the Article of Confederation 1781 to 89. The fifth article stated that no person shall be capable of being a delegate to the Continental Congress for more than 3 years in a term of 6 years. When the state ratified the Constitution 1787 to 88, several leading statesmen regarding the lack of mandatory limit of tenure as a dangerous defect, especially, they thought, as regards to the presidency and the Senate. I repeat, and the Senate. Both Jefferson and George Mason advised limits on re-election to the Senate and to the presidency because, said Mason, advised limits on re-election to the Senate and to the presidency because nothing is so essential to the preservation of a Republican government as periodic rotation. The historian Mercy Otis Warren knew, and he warned that there is no provision for a rotation nor anything to prevent the perpetuity of office in the same hands for life, which by little well-timed bribery will probably be done. I repeat, the historian Mercy Otis Warren knew, and he said and warned that there is no provision for a rotation, nor anything to prevent the perpetuity of office in the same hands for life, which by a little well-timed bribery will be probably done. Oh yes, bribery is done. You can read the remainder on Wikipedia, but for the purpose of our discussion today, we are seeing what our founding fathers warned of on a daily basis. We must enact term limits. This is how we drain the swamp. I challenge America. If our representatives, notice I did not say leaders, don't step down with reasonable term limits, we must vote them out. Just check out their net worth prior to going into the office and their net worth after years in office and on somewhat moderate salaries. It should be clear to all what's happening.